In this lecture, let's explore some aspects of Sargable versus non-Sargable queries and explore the visual explain plan feature that is provided by MySQL Workbench. So we're going to be working on big table. So let's go ahead and set that context. All right. And if we take a look at a sample problem from the assignment, it says this query is not Sargable. Okay, so let's run it and see what we mean by that. So we ran it, and of course, even on our quote unquote big table, it's relatively puny in computer standards. So it's just long enough to sort of give us a few milliseconds difference in performance so we can really see what's going on. And if we come over here down below the result grid and take a look at the execution plan, we can tell that even though there is a primary key on the big table 2, it's not really using that for this query. And so we're doing a full table scan. Of course, about the worst performance we could get would be to use a full table scan. That is also sometimes referred to as a needle in a haystack search. You literally go through from top to bottom through all of it, looking for the qualifying data. So let's figure out what is the problem. Why is this non-Sargable? And we probably have a pretty good guess, but let's experimentally figure this out. So one theory would be, well, hey, we're doing some string format conversion here. Maybe that's our problem. So let's trim that out and see. So if I trim that out, and let's just print the ADate field without the string conversion, and let's run that. And let's take a look at the execution plan. And the execution plan is still terrible. So that really wasn't our problem. And that kind of makes sense because we've already got the result set, and it just takes a very few machine cycles to do, relatively speaking, to do the string formatting here. And so this is not our problem. So we're going to put that part back the way it was. So we're kind of testing one thing at a time. All right, the from, there's nothing debatable about that. So this where clause must be the area where we're slowing everything down, okay? And so we're looking for February 24th, 2020, and we're doing a date conversion. And if you think about it, we're doing that conversion on the table side, not on what we're comparing it to, which could be converted once to a string constant and then compared every time thereafter. So because we are parsing this out to do our compare, I would guess that we are not using our index. We're just going element by element right down the table, a full table scan. Let's see if we can test that idea. So what if we didn't look for this formatted that way? I'm going to come here and put this whole where clause to sleep, comment it out. And let's say where a date equals, and what if we were convert this to just a standard string or a date format. So let's, to remind ourselves what that looks like, say select star from new table 2. Let's just run that. And okay, so it's year dash month dash day is the format. So let's change that to, so February 24th is going to be 2020 dash, and then we're looking at the month, which is going to be 02 dash 24. Okay, so and I know that I don't have to cast this as a date. MySQL will very conveniently do the implicit conversion here. And so let me get this out of the way. And let's run this and see what our execution plan looks like. Aha, okay, so we are using, it's now a Sargable query, meaning that it can take advantage of the indexes that are available. The query optimizer is now working the way we'd wish it to, and we are getting a good performance. So this is not the exact solution I would like to see in your assignment. What I would like you to do is to honor the fact that for whatever reason, the programmer wanted to have a conversion to something that was a friendly string. Okay, maybe they're planning to allow users to input this in the future, or they're taking a fixed format and they're not converting it upstream. They want to get the full date that they're comparing it here. So what the trick would be to do, the challenge I'm leaving for you, is change where a date instead of trying to pull out and parse the date. That's where we're paying for the overhead, making it non-sargable. What could you do to take this string and convert that string into this date format? And then if you do that and replace it here, so it would be where a date equals, and then let's imagine there is some function that you could use to create, take February 24th, 2020 and convert it. And that will be your challenge, is to research that and test it. And then what I'd like to know is, if you do that and we just do the conversion on this side rather than on the table side, do we get this level of performance? What's your theory? Find out empirically, and then you'll have a much better handle on why a query is sargable or non-sargable. So happy experimentation.